Hello folk creators and welcome to another English video lesson. Today we will be opening a unit devoted to culture. We will be talking about different countries around the world where you can use your English. The title of today's lesson is The Far East. My name is Irena and I will be your English teacher for the day. Let's start with the learning outcomes. If you complete all the tasks and do all the activities, I expect that by the end of the lesson you will be able to describe religions of the Far East and to compare them with Christianity, the prevailing religion in our part of the world. Just like every time, you will need something to write with and something to write on. Also, to be able to access all the tasks and activities, make sure that you have a gadget with internet access. Don't forget that you can always pause or replay the video at any time. You should go through the lesson at your own pace. Let's start. So, what are we talking about here? When you hear the terms the Far East, the Middle East, and the Near East, what are the first thoughts that comes to mind? Any ideas? Are they positive? Do they have negative connotations, perhaps? Which fields of science do you think when you hear these three terms? Is it history, geography, politics, something else perhaps? What do you think connects these three concepts? Are there any overlaps? What are the differences and similarities? Make notes or draw the mind map. Pause the video and do the task. So, let's see. According to the Britannica Dictionary, the term Far East refers to the countries of Eastern and Southeastern Asia. These are China, Japan, North and South Korea, and Vietnam. It can be said that the Far East refers to the countries on the Pacific coast of Asia. The term Middle East denotes the countries of Northern Africa and Southwestern Asia that are on or near the eastern edge of the Mediterranean Sea. And so-called Near East, and also the area of the Eastern Mediterranean to Iran, including Syria, Jordan, Israel, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Iran and Iraq, and sometimes also Egypt. Middle East essentially supplanted Near East in the early 20th century, although the two terms are used interchangeably among English speakers now. So, for all intents and purposes, Middle East and Near East refer to the same region when we use these terms today. But this hasn't always been the case. The term Near East was coined in the 19th century when Westerners divided the so-called Orient into three parts: the Near East, the Middle East, and the Far East. The Near East included the Ottoman Empire and the Balkans, while the Middle East ranged between the Persian Gulf and Southeast Asia. That was quite a small region compared to what we consider to be the Middle East today. The Far East then denoted what are today Asian countries facing the Pacific Ocean. As Europe geared up for World War II, the term Middle East began to be used by the British military to refer to both regions, and Middle East soon became the dominant term. That's how we still use it today. But if you have a look at the map of the world, we could ask, is that politically correct? What lies between these terms? What lies behind? Imagine that you're talking to your friends from Canada, Brazil, or New Zealand. Is their perspective the same? Even if they're familiar with the term Middle East or Far East, for them it is geographically inaccurate. These three terms the Middle East, the Near East, and the Far East are sometimes even said to be offensive because of their implications. However, most will agree that they are simply antiquated rather than offensive when it comes to their usage. They imply a very Eurocentric mentality. And the truth is that most of Asia is actually west, if we have a look at continental North America, or they're north, if we have a look at Australia and New Zealand, for example. So, in some academic circles, many of them actually, the term Middle East has also fallen out of favor, just like Orient did in the past. So, when we want to refer to the countries in East and Southeast Asia, we have to bear in mind that some terms have negative anthropological tendencies and they can be offensive on that behalf. Therefore, if we want to talk about these parts of the world, it is best to use accurate terms for the regions of Asia, which are West Asia, Central Asia, Northern Asia, and Southeast Asia. But, just for the sake of this lesson, we will refer to the area as it is traditionally referred to, and that is the Far East. Let's move on. As speakers of English, we know that the doors of the world are open to us. English is spoken around the globe, and we will have no problems communicating in whatever part of the world we are. But, in order to engage in really meaningful communication, we also have to know something about the culture of the country we're in. Now, as you already know, culture is an extremely complex phenomenon, and it involves many elements and has many layers. The ones that you see on the screen are just a few. The 3 dots in the last part of the circle indicate many other aspects: food, music, clothes, different traditions, whatever you can think of that belongs to culture. So it is practically impossible to know everything about the culture, even including your own. If for no other reason, then it is because cultures constantly change. However, in the next few video lessons, we'll travel around the world and try to scratch the surface and learn just a tiny bit of something about different aspects of different cultures. We'll start with religions. Before we embark on our journey to the Far East, follow this link to open a worksheet with several tasks related to religions. Let's make sure that you're familiar with some key vocabulary and important concepts. Pause the video and do the task. Now, have a look at a list of well-known world religions. Which do you think are related to what we traditionally call the Far East? Think of the list, and if you are unsure about the answer, follow the link and open the website with major religions of the world listed and shortly described. Pause the video and do the task. So, as you probably knew, the dominating religions in the Far East are Buddhism, Confucianism, Hinduism, Shintoism, and Taoism. And when we say religions, we have to have a very wide meaning of the word in mind. It is the belief in and worship of one or many gods, or any such system of belief and worship. We have to step aside from our mentality, which is determined by our culture and the part of the world we live in, and we have to view things from a different and wider perspective. So let's do that. Choose 2 of these 5 religions of the Far East which you want to know more about. Go back to the website and click on the link below the text. You will find more information about each of the religions. So the text is organized through hyperlinks, which will give you additional information. Once you do that, read and then answer the questions that you can see on the screen. What is or are the main belief or beliefs in terms of your religion? What are its origins? And what are the most important practices, customs, or rituals? Pause the video, go through the text, and write your answers down. Based on the information you have learned, present the similarities and differences of the two religions you have chosen to find out more about. Use the Venn diagram. Write the name of the religion about each of the circles and their specific features within the circle. Use the middle overlapping part to list their similarities. So the differences will be on the left and on the right, and the similarities will be in the middle. Take a photo or screenshot of your task and share it on the Flinga wall, which you can access with a link in the top right-hand corner. Pause the video and do the task. And now let's move on to the last part. You will have to prepare a report for your class about the religions you have chosen to learn more about. Use the diagram with similarities and differences as the starting point. This means you have to talk about both religions all the way. Do not describe first one and then move on to another. Compare both throughout your report. To make the whole story even clearer to the audience, use comparisons with Christianity. This is the dominating religion in our area, most people will know at least something about it, so such comparisons will help their understanding. You can take examples from Christianity, you can draw parallels, and that's how you can explain some complex concepts in a clearer way. But be careful when you explain things. There is no right or wrong. There is no better or worse in terms of religions. Talk about facts, not opinions, and be objective. And be extra careful not to make fun of any beliefs, customs, or practices, no matter how unusual they may seem from your perspective. Remember, somebody else can say the same for the things that you believe in and for the things that you do. Your report should be long enough so that you can talk for 3 to 4 minutes. While preparing it, you can use this rubric, which will help you with preparing your report. It tells you what you need to focus on in terms of content, oral presentation, coherence and cohesion, elements of culture, and timing. As I have already said, be extra careful with the elements of culture component. So, I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson and learning about the Far East. Until next time, have a great day.